Anyways, I know that spoon theory is a little weird. It's a little lopsided there, but I hope that kind of gives you a little bit of a mental idea of what it's like and how you have to think of every little thing. That it's not just getting in the car and driving and going somewhere. It's the effort of getting in that car, and that we use muscles that we normally never have to think about. But once they're weakened, once they lose their strength, you become very aware. Another short example I'll give you is even if you are eating dinner or lunch with somebody, a lot of people like to talk and eat. They like to socialize. If these muscles are affected in here and you're using whatever strength you have just to swallow your food, talking is just going to weaken them even more. So even simple thoughts like that, like, do I have the strength to swallow my food right now and to talk, or do I need to excuse myself from talking just so I can get my food down? I've been in social situations where I'm trying to do both and I can't, and I can tell I'm going to start choking on my food, but I'm in a sense of some new people I've met where I really can't explain that, and I've actually had to stop eating just so I can continue being social with talking with them. So just simple little things that we never normally have to think about, that you do have to start thinking about when you're limited to how much strength you have and in what kind of time frame. The second question is has this changed my life goals and interests? And I would have to say yes, definitely life goals. I was a professional working as a registered nurse. I did have to give that up. It was too hard to stay on my feet 8, 10, 12 hours a day, walking the halls, talking to people. For me, it was just too much. I couldn't function that way, and it caused me to get into some very serious situations with muscle weakness. And as far as interest, again, yes, I was a very outdoorsy person. I enjoyed the hiking, the biking, the swimming, anything I could do outdoors, I enjoyed. But of course, all those activities require significant amount of muscle strength, and I just couldn't do them. So I have had to change my interest. I do more things that are more quiet, require less energy, and for shorter time frames so that I can tolerate it. I've also had to be a little bit creative in trying to enjoy some of the things I used to do, and how can I go about doing them now with this disease. For example, I enjoy kayaking, but the paddling definitely wears those arms out and having to hold the body up. Those muscles would fatigue too. So the solution to that was to throw a little motor on the back of the kayak, and that way I can enjoy the outdoors and kayaking, but I have the benefit of having an electric motor. So you have to kind of go about trying to discover ways that you can still enjoy some of the things that you used to do, which works out well. So our next question is, have you undergone any surgeries or other procedures as part of my myasthenia? Yes, I did have a transsternal thymectomy done a few years back, and they did that because I was within the age range that they thought it would be beneficial. I did not have a thymoma, but my pathology on the thymus did come back as significantly hyperplastic, and it was also 3 times larger than it should have been at my size, or at my age, I'm sorry, which I believe is around the size of a walnut is what it should be as a grown adult. So the next question is, are you taking immunosuppressants or other medications for my myasthenia? And the answer is yes, very much so. I do take the Mestinon every 3 hours, and that is for symptoms only. For me, I pretty much do that around the clock, because if I don't do it in the middle of the night, I would wake up choking on my saliva. So I do wake up during the night and take a dose or two, and then definitely during the waking hours, I am taking it every 3 hours. I am also on daily prednisone. I do IVIG every 3 weeks, and then I am currently in my second round of Rituxan. I did my first round last summer, and it did work wonders for me, and then I went as far out as 6 months, and the symptoms dramatically worsened, so that's why I am now in my second round. The next one is, do you think MG has affected the way your family and friends interact with you? And I would say yes, probably more so friends, because family's kind of stuck with you. And I'm not the only one that has said this about friends. But you do lose them. Initially, people are there, they're very caring, they're asking how you are. But because it is a chronic illness and it goes long term, people seem to kind of fade away, especially if they don't feel that you're getting better or getting back to where you were before. Initially, friends would call and ask to do things like we used to do. Either I couldn't because it was a bad day and didn't have the energy to do it, or it was an activity that I could no longer participate in. And what I found is that most people don't alter what they want to do for you. They just eventually just quit asking and then quit calling. But I think that's pretty typical for most chronic illnesses. I think us as humans, we expect people to either get better, whether it's a short illness or some kind of medical issue, high blood pressure or high cholesterol or something. Then you're going to take a pill, it's going to get under control, you'll be just fine. And then life kind of gets back to normal. But with a chronic illness, this doesn't happen. Even though you may become somewhat better or somewhat more stable, you're still pretty restricted in what you're doing. And your life itself has changed and probably won't be back to where it was before. So they do lose interest in you, and I did find that I lost friends. But on the other hand, having this disease and being active within the MG community and with the MGFA, I have met some wonderful people and have gained new friends who appreciate me and understand me and me with them, and they're actually what I would consider better friends to start with. So I'm very lucky that way. So the next question is, are you part of an MG community support group? And I kind of already alluded to that, but yes, I am. I do facilitate a support group, a myasthenia support group close by. We have about 20 or 30 members. Some are newly diagnosed, which always need the most help because it's a very confusing time for them, learning the disease and the treatments and all the intricacies with it. And then some who have had it for 20 or 30 years who can share a lot of their experience and give a lot of support. So I have found it very rewarding for myself, and I don't know what I would have done without the support groups, especially when I was initially diagnosed. It was a great source of strength for me, and I really do believe that it's what got me through the early years, the first couple of years, which were the hardest, because you're not only learning about your disease and how to deal with it, which is confusing anyways, but you're dealing a lot with the psychosocial aspects of it. With me, it was the loss of my profession, which then in turn, it was trying to figure out who I am and what is my self-worth. Do I even have that anymore? So it took some time to figure that out, and I think because of them, it made me stronger and helped me to come out on the other side in a brighter light. So the next question is, am I part of any clinical trials? Unfortunately, no. From the trials that I have seen or know about at this point, they do want you to be seropositive for either the acetylcholine or the MuSK antibody. And in my case, being seronegative, there hasn't been anything available for me to participate in. But hopefully in the future, there'll be something for us seronegatives. So those are my questions, and I want to thank you again, and I hope that helps you to understand a little bit about it. I hope I wasn't too confusing about it, but thank you for your time, and thank you all very much. Okay, bye-bye.